How do I say this? I guess just say it. I'm back in debt. And it's extremely embarrassing. I feel guilty. I feel like a fraud. I feel fake. I feel disappointed in myself, but ultimately I know it's not the end of the world. If y'all been following me for some time, I documented my entire debt-free journey. It took me 4 years to pay off $33,000, and that's what I built my following on, right? A lot of people joined on to what I was doing, started following me based on me paying my debt back, and that was a huge milestone in my life. It was a big accomplishment. It's something I was and that I'm still proud of to this day, but that was already 5 years ago, right? It took me 4 years to pay off my debt when I started my journey, and I've been debt free for 4 years, and it would have been 5, but this last year has been crazy. So how did it happen? That's the question I'm sure y'all have. How did it happen? How did Mr. Debt Free end up back in debt 4 years after becoming debt free initially? I'll tell you how it happened. We're all living in the same economy, I'm sure, right? Most of y'all, I know I got some people that's outside of the US, but for the most part, we're all American here. We're all living in the same exact economy. I know I got a handful of rich people on here, but for the most part, we're all pretty average earners, right? Living in the same exact economy. And for me to end up back in debt, like I said, is very disappointing. Like, I'm disappointed in me, but I also understand that life happens to all of us. I prided myself on taking care of my finances, which I still do. I prided myself on not taking uncalculated risks or understanding the risks that's involved with anything I do in terms of finance and spending and things of that nature. But this situation, it really has me disappointed, and it has me questioning a lot of the things that I'm doing. So I'll break it down. $22,000 in debt currently. $22,000, and it's all consumer debt. Once I became debt free, I was actively working on my credit at the same time. So I had 4 credit cards over the years, and I was doing well with them. I was doing really good with them. I was getting my points. I wasn't carrying a balance, all of those things. But like I said, life happens to all of us. Once I bought my house in 2022, things started to take a turn for the worse financially, right? Not to completely blame my house either. This is all my fault. This is supreme accountability right here. Nobody told me to buy a house. Nobody told me to have kids. Nobody told me to do all the things that I do with my money that I do. I'm the one making these decisions as an adult. But as soon as we moved in, obviously we got to furnish the place, right? We got to furnish the place. And we're not going overboard with this furniture. We're buying relatively neutral things. We need window coverings. We get blinds. We need a couch. We need tables. We need the bare minimum things. A lot of furniture we had already had from our previous place, so we didn't have to buy a ton of furniture, but those were the first expenses. Things got really spendy as soon as we moved into the house. You can imagine all the expenses associated with having children. You can imagine the expenses associated with having an older dog. You can imagine the expenses associated with having an older home. Just imagine all the average life expenses, but in today's economy. So things are extremely overpriced. We still got to live life, right? Groceries are higher. It's like as soon as we moved into the house, I kid you not, things just skyrocketed. Everything was more and more expensive, and we were still living life as if inflation wasn't a thing. I went to Disney 2 times since I've been living in this house, right? Me and my family went to Disney 2 summers in a row, and at that 3rd summer, I said, nah, we good on Disney. That's $5,500 per trip. Nobody told me to do that either. We were able to fund that. No debt involved with that, but it was just still an expense where if I didn't go, I would have that money on hand. So like I said, things are getting more and more spendy, more and more pricey in this economy, and that's when the emergencies start popping up, right? Car troubles, home maintenance, sick kid here, sick kid there, injured kid here, sick yourself, sick spouse, sick parents, sick this. Things just started hitting me out of nowhere, and I run out of money. Like, I'm not a money machine. I'm not a money tree. Money don't grow on me. I have to work for every single dollar that I have. So if I don't have it, what I do have is credit cards, right? That's what gets a lot of people in trouble. A lot of people rely on credit cards or, survive on credit cards when their funds get low. And if you're not able to pay those credit cards back, obviously you get hit with late fees and interest payments every single month if you don't pay those balances in full. And that's essentially what happened to me. So as life got spendier, right? I got married in the process as well. We had a We had a whole wedding, everything. And it wasn't over the top. Me and my wife got married at the courthouse. Everything was $8,700. That's it. That's including her dress, my tailored suit, all 3 rings, booking out a venue, food, drinks, friends, $8,700. We wanted to keep the wedding under 10 grand, and that's what we did. That was affordable for us. But at the same time, that was another larger expense. So it's like, as soon as we moved into this house, we had to spend these larger chunks of money. Had to. See, I'm catching my phrasing. We had to. We didn't have to do anything. We chose to do that. I chose to do those things. Long story short, economy tightened up. Things got more and more expensive. I ran out of money, and I was using my credit cards just to get by. Just to get by, because while I have certain funds and savings, those funds are for that. While I have certain investment accounts, those funds are for that. So I'm not trying to remove anything that's invested. I'm not trying to remove anything that's actually gaining more interest than I have to pay back on my credit card. So I'm just taking these interest payments and I'm eating them. I'm just letting them hit every month. I know I can't pay my balances in full until it reached a point of like, you know what? I can't take it no more. I can't take it. I'm starting to feel it. It hurts. I feel like I'm doing overtime. I'm working myself into the ground. Is it worth it to keep these credit cards? I had to make a conscious decision. I'm credit card free now. I have 4 credit cards that I was using. And once that thing got up to like 18 grand, I said, this is insane. This is insane. My overall balance was 22,000 across 4 cards. And that's when I knew enough was enough. And I just cut them. I said, I don't need these credit cards. I'm good. It's not worth it. I'm not about to go into bankrupt. I'm not about to risk anything else. I'm gonna just cut it right here. So I ended up shutting the cards down, working with the debt consolidation company, getting 1 payment. So now I'm on a payment plan with them. I'm already halfway through because they negotiated that debt in half. So the 22,000 I originally had, I ended up getting that cut in half. So the ultimate debt that I have now was 11 grand, $11,000, and I'm already back down to 7, but it's still frustrating to me because I did this to myself. And I've heard all the stories. I've heard all the tales about how dangerous credit cards are and how credit cards get people in trouble and how if you can't manage your credit cards responsibly, you shouldn't have them. That wasn't the case necessarily with me. Like, I made a conscious decision to use these credit cards in that way because before inflation hit, before I wanted to do all these extravagant things, I wasn't carrying any balances, and then life happened. Like I said, I had a bunch of emergencies that happened within like a 6-month span that I'll elaborate on in a future video, but I couldn't breathe. I was like, man, every day I felt like I walked outside and $500 here, $1,500 here, $2,000 here. All these large payments was happening emergency wise, aside from all the other previous spending I had done over the last 2 years or so. And that's what led me back into debt. Now, I have a plan. Don't get me wrong. I have a plan of paying this debt off. It's not going to take long to pay off, but it still sucks. It still sucks. It still makes me feel some type of way. It's still disappointing, and it's still alarming that all the things I prevented against, it kind of came back to bite me. That's what really makes it hard for me. And I wanted to come on here and share that because I know for a fact there's people out here who has done the debt-free journey, has done the work, paid off their debt, became debt-free, and ended up back in debt. Like, I wish I had the statistics on people who pay off debt and end up back in debt. Clearly, that's a common thing because I've heard it. I've heard multiple people talk about it. That's a real thing. That's like people who lose weight and end up gaining the weight back. It's all based on your habits and lifestyles. Sometimes it's circumstances, but ultimately it comes down to habit and lifestyle. Like, you got to do what you got to do in order to not get yourself in these situations. I got a little reckless. I got comfortable, and I got slapped. I got hit left field. All these things started happening that I knew was possible, but I was just moving. I was moving weird. I ain't gonna lie. I was moving a little weird outside of my usual frugal, financially literate, financially conscious, savvy self. I was moving a little different. I guess I got comfortable. That's really the thing. I got comfortable. I wasn't as diligent. I wasn't as vigilant with my finances as I was in the past, or as I should have, and it came back to bite me, which I don't care about that part because I know for a fact it's just part of the process. Setbacks are a part of this thing. I talk about that all the time too. Like, I knew there would come a time where I would hit another bump in the road, or I would, you know, take a couple steps back. Ultimately, I'm moving in the right direction, but this right here slowed me down just a little bit, like ever so slightly. Now, while that 22,000 seems like a lot, I was able to make the conscious decision to stop what I was doing, right? I was able to recalibrate, refocus, change my mindset, get back in this certain mode that I needed to be in. Whereas in other circumstances, they may not be able to do nothing about it. Like, I haven't reached that level of emergency where it wasn't any job loss or any income loss or anything like that where I couldn't pay it back. I just didn't want to dig myself out of this hole so deep or pay all this interest back unnecessarily, because I know it's a waste of money. Now, do I hate credit cards? Absolutely not. Will I have credit cards again in the future? Probably, but at this point in time, there's nothing that I'm looking to finance. Honestly, I don't need credit for anything right now. There's nothing I'm looking to finance, so I could care less about credit cards at the moment. As long as I'm paying my mortgage every month, that's good enough credit for me. My credit goes up every 2 to 3 months based on my mortgage payment, and we do still have a note on my wife's truck, which is very little left on that. So I have accounts that I pay on that helps my credit, but in terms of credit card accounts, I'm no longer a credit card owner because credit cards got me in trouble. I got me in trouble due to my negligence with credit cards. That's a better way to say it. So $22,000 in debt, cut down to 11 grand, which I've been paying on, is cut down to 7. I should be debt free mid 2026. I'll be documenting that process. I'll keep y'all posted on that. Not step by step, payment by payment like I did in the past, but just know I won't be buried under this debt for 4 years like I was in the past when I had a smaller shovel. I'm not rich by any means. Like I said, I'm an average earner, but I do make a lot more than I did back in the day, right? When I first started, when I was grinding. Y'all remember that grind I was on. If you haven't, go check out some of my old videos. I'm in a much better financial position today that I'm grateful for. Although I do have this current debt looming over me, it took a lot to get this out. Like, I wanted to share this for over a year because it happened back in 2024 once I decided to say enough is enough, and I'm gonna call this debt consolidation company because this is it. Like, I'm not about to let these interest payments eat me alive, these late fees eat me alive, nothing like that, because it's unnecessary. But I've been working on this for the past year so far, so wanted to be transparent with y'all because I know a lot of people feel the same guilt that I feel, or felt the same guilt, or feel the same disappointment, and they just ask themselves, like, how did I end up back here? I dealt with that for a long time, and I know why. It's all on me. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get out this situation and try my best not to get back in it again. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? I've been fooled twice. I've been fooled twice by this debt thing. So I think after this situation, I should be in the clear, but who knows? Like I said, I can't predict the future. I'm not promising anything. I just know that this won't define me. It's not the end of the road. And if you're in debt out there and you got credit cards and they're eating you alive, trust me, I know exactly what you're going through. I know what you're feeling. I empathize. Just do better moving forward, right? Put your best foot forward. That's all you can do. You're going to feel guilty. You're going to feel ashamed a little bit. It is what it is. It's not the end of the world, and everything going to be all good. Like this video if you like it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I go by the name of Q, and like I always say, if Q can make it happen, you can make it happen. I'll holler at y'all next video. Peace.